President Biden has been warning the American people that they soon could be called in to fight against Russia in a new war. Now, I want to break down why President Biden has been saying this, why many experts are concerned that this is now the new reality and what we could face in the near future. So, make sure you stick around for this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So why would President Biden be warning the American people that they could be called in to fight very soon against Russia? Well, it has to do with this. President Biden stated that we need to help Ukraine now. We need to help Ukraine win the war against Russia. Because if not, we will be sending Americans to fight Russia with NATO later on. Now, here's the issue. Why would the United States go and help NATO fight? Well, for one, we are a part of NATO. And the concern is that if the United States doesn't provide more weapons and ammunition and more support to Ukraine, then Russia will win that war. They will take over all of Ukraine, which puts them right at the doorstep of a NATO country. That's what President Biden has been warning. But the issue is Congress cannot come to an agreement to pass any additional legislation to provide additional funding to Ukraine. They've been working on that for some time. However, it does not look likely. Now, I want to read you this. It says Congress needs to pass supplemental funding for Ukraine before they break for the holiday. It's as simple as that. They were talking about this in December. This is December when President Biden is bringing this up. He says, frankly, I think it's stunning. We have gotten to this point in the first place. Republicans in Congress are willing to give Putin the greatest gift he could hope for and abandon our global leadership. Keep in mind, President Biden, based off of what Republicans are saying, hasn't done a thing for our U.S. southern border to provide any type of stability there as well. And they said that he abandoned the American people. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention right now? Because this article, just to give you an idea, this article that I was just reading you right here was written on December 6th, 2023. So obviously multiple months ago. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of this. This is from just yesterday. It's from Reuters. It says Zelensky says without U.S. aid, Ukraine forces will have to retreat. So if the United States does not provide Ukraine with additional support and additional weaponry, Ukraine is going to need to retreat. Just listen to what is said. Let's read a little bit of this article. It says, President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview published on Friday that if Ukraine does not get promised U.S. military aid blocked by disputes in Congress, its forces will have to retreat in small steps. It says, and I quote, if there is no U.S. support, it means that we have no air defense, no Patriot missiles, no jammers for electronic warfare, no 155 millimeter artillery rounds, Zelensky told the Washington Post. Goes on to say, it means we will go back, retreat, step by step in small steps. We are trying to find some ways not to retreat. But he goes on to say, a shortage of munitions means you have to do with less. How? Of course, to go back, make the front line shorter. If it breaks, the Russians could go to the big cities. Now, if Russia goes to the big cities, if Russia can take over, the majority of Ukraine, it's gonna put the United States in a little bit of a bind. Now, are we going to be going to war with Russia? Well, the thing that you need to keep in mind is that the United States and Russia do not want to go to war with one another. But the United States and President Biden has vowed that if Russia were to invade or attack a NATO country, it would be an attack on all NATO countries, meaning the United States would step in. However, based off of recent reports and a few interviews, the United States would not immediately send troops and put them on the ground inside of a NATO country. The United States would hopefully, or would ask for other countries to hopefully get involved, send their troops first, and the United States would only come in the event that this was our last resort, the last option. Because the United States and Russia getting into a war with one another would be catastrophic. Not just for those two countries, but for all countries around. Now, is Russia going to back out? Well, I want to show you this article. This is from yesterday as well. It says, Ukraine says Russia, in less than a week, hit it with 700 glide bombs, weapons that can really only be beaten by killing the planes. Now, if Russia continues on this mission, and Ukraine does not have the support, not just of the United States, but other NATO countries as well, the concern is that Russia is going to take over all of Ukraine. Russia will be closer to these NATO countries. But based off what we heard a couple years ago when this war first began, when Russia initially invaded Ukraine, experts said from that day, Ukraine didn't have the power to defeat Russia, at least not without substantial help from the United States. So it's not just that Ukraine needs a little bit of help. They need a lot of help. And as of right now, the United States and Congress is only considering sending about $60 billion to Ukraine. But at the same time, and this is what I think is interesting, the United States continues to send stuff over to Israel. Look at this. It says the U.S. has agreed to send more bombs and warplanes to Israel, according to a source just yesterday. So the United States is going to send more stuff to Israel to help them potentially bomb Gaza and the Palestinian people. But at the same time, President Biden says the big concern is what's going on in Ukraine. So here's the problem. We have seen multiple reports over the past 6 months, and they have all said the same thing. The U.S. stockpile of ammunition is getting critically low. And the concern from multiple Pentagon officials is that our munition stockpile is not enough to keep up with Ukraine, keep up with Israel, keep up with what was going on in the Red Sea, and potentially neutralize any threat that we may have against us. Because again, what's going on between Israel and Gaza has nothing to do with the United States. What's going on with Russia and Ukraine has nothing to do with the United States. Okay? When we were trying to protect ships going through the Red Sea, did that have anything to do with the United States? No. Just the United States decided to jump in. We had a ship in the Red Sea or in the area anyway. And so it kind of just made sense. But Pentagon officials are saying we need to be concerned with what is going on here on U.S. homes, on our homeland. The concern is a lot of it has to do with the U.S. southern border and these tensions around the world, which some say we are doing too much and we're not getting anything out of it. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you right now, President Biden has been saying from day one, we have to help Ukraine because we cannot let Russia win. But at the same time, all the reports are indicating that the United States is sending more ammunition, more weaponry to Israel than it is to Ukraine at a time when Biden says Ukraine should be the priority. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you is I will be here every step of the way. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.